right, so let's get into some things. Akeem Blake, 989 trackies. Oh my God, I am so excited. But before I talk about the 989, I want to talk about last week. Was it at the Bermuda Games? I think that's what it was called, where he lost to Cristian Coleman. You know, Cristian Coleman ran that windy 9-7. And I remember looking at Oblique in that race, and I'm like, he doesn't look like the Oblique. Not Oblique, sorry, Akeem. What am I saying Oblique? Akeem. Sorry, guys, Akeem. I remember looking at Akeem and saying, you know, he doesn't look like the Akeem I'm used to. His start looked very tentative, as well as the end of his race. It looked like, you know, he wasn't giving that extra in the end of the race. So I was there thinking to myself, is he a bit more tentative because of his previous race, which was a false start? I was wondering about that. But for me in that race, I thought Akeem had more to give. I didn't think like he was completely blown out of the waters, even though the results show that he was blown out of the waters. You know, that wasn't my thought process when I analyzed his particular run. So fast forward to now, the present, seeing him come and take down, you know, Cristian Coleman as well as the other athletes in the race. You know, I was excited because I really saw a solid execution from him this week, better than the one I saw at the Bermuda Games. Is it Bermuda or Bahamas? Gosh, somebody please correct me. I think it's Bahamas, and I'm saying Bermuda. One of them. One of them. Anyway, so track is it was a much better execution, and I picked the execution. So you're right. I know I'm not wrong. Better. He was more tentative in the last race, the previous race. So this time around, I definitely thought he got a better execution. And of course, with it came the time, finally breaking into 9-8, finally shutting up a lot of the persons that believe that, you know, the Jamaican athletes are nowhere to be found. I think I saw a post on Twitter a few days ago saying that the Jamaican guys are not ready yet and all sort of stuff. And I'm there saying to myself, first and foremost, let's not use, you know, what you're used to typically seeing from Americans early in the season to brush Jamaicans, right? Because we all know Jamaicans tend to progress, you know, from stage to stage in their season. You don't typically see a Jamaican coming out and just blazing fast right from the get-go. I think the only person that I can think of right now that has broken that is Shelly. Right outside of that, you don't really see our athletes, you know, just coming out. You see them gradually. You see a 10, maybe a 10-10, then you'll see a 10 flat, then you see some midnights, and then you see them gradually getting faster. So as you can clearly see, right, rounding into form. So you can clearly see that our athletes tend to take a bit of time. I don't want to say too bit of time, but you know, it's literally scheduled for our trials and then obviously further on into the World Championships or Olympics, depending on the year, right? So they're rounding down when they need to, because guess what? The trials is coming up in a little bit over a month. In July, I think July 6th to 9th. June, July. Yeah, July 6th to 9th. So the you can clearly see that progress is being made. And I'm really, 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 really excited and happy for Akeem Blake 989. Trackies, come on, tell me in the comment section, what did you think about that run, that execution? I saw Cristian Coleman faltering in that race. No, this is pretty much, in my opinion, typically how he looks towards the end of his race. Sometimes he tends to struggle a bit, but I did think that he struggled a bit more than he struggled in his previous race. Now I'm going to say this is something that I've learned over the years, and I don't know if there's a truth to it, but I've always learned that when Jamaicans are running in a strong following wind, they tend to resist that wind, like they're trying to hold form and hold their technique, right? So they don't necessarily get blown to ridiculous times. Say for instance, if they're running against, let me use God forbid, I don't want nobody to attack me for Shakiri, but let's just use Shakiri for an example, right? She could be in a race and she gets a 5 meters per second following wind. That literally blows her down to, you know, 10-5. I mean, yeah, 10-5s. But if, you know, in my opinion, if a Jamaican was in that race that is possibly equally good in terms of times, I wouldn't foresee them getting blown down to that time, because there's a way in which I've always envisioned or seen our athletes execute their races. And to me, they don't really seem to do that well in these crazy, crazy following wins. You know, you all can tell me in the comment section what you think about my, you know, my thought process there. But yeah, Akeem Blake, you know, dusted himself off, you know, off a false start. That was one. Second one, you know, a bit more tentative, more cautious. Now he's, you know, getting back into the Akeem with the blistering start that we're used to, you know, and executing a full race. And please remember, Coleman was ahead of him in the final 30 meters of that race. And he, you know, held form and followed through and obviously, you know, walked away with the win in a new massive personal. Well, you know, once you jump into 9.8, in my opinion, that's massive, right? Regardless of whatever his previous personal best was, that's massive to me. So I'm really, really excited and I'm really happy about, you know, Akeem Blake taking that step into the 9.8. I can't wait to see what's going on in trials and see what's going to happen.